We now come to the part of the service called Om Oss, or About Us. These are weekly short teaching blocks where we try to explain one of the three things. First, why we as a church do what we do. Two, why we as a church teach what we teach. This includes unpacking our doctrinal statement. And three, what we as a church should be doing. And you may have noticed that I've changed languages. This is because the About Us for this section, the About Us section for this week is about Sandefjord Evangelical Church's English ministry. I would like to do this in four sections: the practicalities, the reasons, the help we need, and then outside of Sunday services. So first, what are the practicalities of this? We'll be offering a translation of Norwegian services to the English language for all those that need it. This means that we need help with this from those who are bilingual. Those that need the translation will download an app called Live Voice. They will download it, type in a code, and then they can listen with their own headphones. The second practicality is that you'll notice this clearly in the preaching ministry of this church. I'm honored to be asked by Pastor Bob and Pastor Arland to assist them with the weekly preaching of God's Word. Although I will aim to do some preaching in Norwegian, every second sermon or so that I will do will likely be in English. During these English sermons, we will even offer Norwegian translation to those who need it. And again, we will need volunteers for that. So what are our reasons for this? Well, the first reason is that we want to love and care for those in our congregation that are English speaking. Learning a language takes time, energy, and effort. And people have different levels of time, energy, and effort that they can or are willing to put into language learning. We want to be respectful of differing abilities and circumstances. There was a time, remember, where the priests in this part of the world held their sermons in Latin, and a Bible was not available in one's native language. We want to do better than them for those that do not fully understand Norwegian yet. The second reason is that me preaching in English is a way that the elders would like to look after me. It takes maybe 2 or 3 times longer for me to prepare a sermon in Norwegian as it does for me to prepare one in English. This may not seem like much, but when 10 or 15 hours becomes 20 or 30, it is difficult to manage with a full-time job, part-time studies, family that needs me, a church to serve. I am eager to help out and I want to serve in this way, but I do not want to burn out and be far less good for anyone. So having the opportunity to preach occasionally in English is a great way that the elders would like to help me in that. And third, one of the reasons is that, as you may know, I've chosen to preach in English at the Sandefjord Evangelia conference, as well as the Bible camp organized in the summer by Bibelskikken Oslo. I have received a lot of encouraging feedback and suggestions to just continue preaching in English. I don't know if that's a compliment to my English or an insult to my Norwegian, but either way, to God be the glory for any benefit the listeners get from the pulpit, whoever is preaching. So alternating languages seems to be a good middle ground, but we are open to feedback on this. I wouldn't mind preaching in English every time if my Norwegian was too difficult to follow. So the third section is, well, how can you help? Well, first we need volunteers to translate. That's the obvious one. If we have enough volunteers, then you may only need to translate once every 4 to 6 weeks. The notes can be provided for you by the preacher. All you need to do is download the Live Voice app on your phone also, and I can set you up with a code for translating. This is a different code than those who are receiving the translation will type in. So there's 2 codes, one for translating and one for listening to the translation. You may not have translated before, but I'm sure that your translation is better for the English speakers than nothing at all. I don't think many Norwegians understand how little Norwegian immigrants or expats, how much little Norwegian they actually have. You all grew up with English TV, right? English in schools. And yet many Norwegians think their English is bad. I can tell you this. There was no Norwegian TV in New Zealand. Any translation is better than none. And the second way that you can help is that we understand that having English sermons may be difficult for children, which is why I would like to try and alternate between English and Norwegian. This means that approximately 1 in every 6 sermons at Sandefjord Evangeliske Menighet will be in English. That will be about 2 or 3 English sermons before the summer break. We hope to have something set up and running for the children to do either in the service or during the sermons at some stage. So that will hopefully help with an English sermon every 6 weeks or so. This could be handouts for the children. You'll see that we have some coloring pencils and some paper here. But it also could be running an Awana program as well. But we need volunteers for this. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of resources to run these things, so we do need the help of the church. We need help from all of you. So please let the elders or myself know if you're willing to help with something for the children. I know this is more in the area of children ministry than English ministry, but they are connected since this will affect the children who do not understand English. We cannot run a functional children ministry without your willingness to help. The more volunteers, the less frequently the leaders will miss the weekly sermon. So volunteers and patience is what we need for this to go well. So what about outside of Sunday services? So more in the future, there'll be a couple of other ways we want to serve the English community. One is that I would like to start a Sandefjord Evangelical Menighet English podcast after the summer, where I'll interview church leaders and church members in Norway in order to share what ministry is like here in this country. This will hopefully be a good resource to inform those new to Norway, but also as an international resource for the churches and people that are praying for us from other countries. And finally, sometime in the future, when all the core aspects of the church are in place, I would like to begin an English Bible study where we'll go through the Institutes for Church Leadership certificate program. These are online lectures through multiple different areas of the faith that we can watch together and discuss. We may start this after summer, or we might wait until Pastor Arlen has finished his Old Testament studies on Wednesday nights. So, that's our English ministry. We understand that this might be different to what you're expecting, so feel free to ask any questions you have after the service to either the elders or myself. We also are planning a public Q&A when Pastor Bob is back, hopefully next week. And we want to thank you all for serving the English speakers of the congregation. So we'll now sing a hymn that was originally written in French, translated to English in 1923, and then 24 later was translated to Norwegian in 1947. So let us sing about the glorious gospel in Dei Vada Are. Then we will hear from one of the greatest gospel passages in the Bible, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 3 to 9. You may stand.